Tonight we're going to talk about what I call triage strategies for credit repair. Kim and I are the founders of Credit Butterfly, which is a software. And I've been in the industry for a little over 20 years, about 21 years in the industry. Kim has too, off and on. And so one of the biggest mistakes that I see that happens with credit professionals is just wasting time on the wrong clients to begin with. You know, clients who might need a bankruptcy or a debt settlement instead of credit repair. So that's why tonight I'm just going to teach you my rapid triage method so that you can quickly identify who's actually a good fit for credit repair, and who needs a different solution. We're going to talk about my score IQ. Now, for Credit Butterfly, for our software, this is our latest new import. So we import from multiple different credit monitoring providers, but we just added my score IQ to Credit Butterfly, and there's a difference between the other providers and my score IQ. So all scores are definitely not equal, okay? So when lenders are actually seeing FICO score 2, 4, and 5 when they pull credit. So a lot of times when we're doing credit repair, it's because people want to buy a house. And the other monitoring products, while very useful, and we use them, they show a Vantage score. When a client comes in, they typically are looking at their Credit Karma, which is also a Vantage score. It's not the same score that lenders use. So what my score IQ does, and the difference with it, is that they actually provide FICO scores. Now, they don't have all 3 mortgage scores with my score IQ, but they do have one. They have FICO 2, which is the Experian FICO score for mortgage. That's the actual mortgage score. So this is the closest you will get to getting all of them. The other 2, I believe, are FICO 8. I wish Rick were here. He could answer that question, but I believe that is the case. So when you are able to see an actual FICO score, especially for a mortgage client, somebody that's trying to qualify for the mortgage, it's a big help. Now, in our software, we have actually optimized for FICO 2, 4, and 5 in the credit action plan that imports in there, automatically creates, but it's still nice to be able to see an actual FICO score, because a lot of times clients will see, and we did a class on this before, a lot of times clients will see their Vantage score, and it can be maybe even 100 points higher than their FICO score because there's some different factors involved, or maybe they have a really recent late and the Vantage score isn't really taking that into consideration. So, not everybody is actually a candidate for credit repair. Okay. So when you know when to refer out to bankruptcy or debt settlement providers, it actually ups your credibility in the industry. One of the things that my loan officers have always commented on through the years is that they always tell their clients when they come to me, if Stephanie can't help you, she's going to tell you who can. Okay. And she's going to help you regardless. So I never just turn somebody away. I always send them to the right provider and to the right service if credit repair is not the actual option that they need. And we're going to go over some of those things today. And, it just helps you build, a results-driven credit repair business because you want to get your clients results every time. So whether it be through you or a different provider, that's what we'll be talking about. So by the end of this class tonight, you should be able to assess who is actually a good fit for credit repair. You should be able to recognize red flags that indicate a different solution is needed, like debt settlement or bankruptcy. You're going to be able to confidently refer your clients to the right professionals when necessary. So how this helps in triage. So if a client's credit FICO score 2, okay, is close to being approved for a loan, they may just benefit from some basic optimization strategies, okay? So if you're able to see that FICO 2 score and see that you're like 5 or 10 points away, maybe, you know, to build goodwill with your loan officers and things like that, or your real estate agents that are referring these clients to you, rather than putting them through an entire credit repair program, you could just look at it and say, you know what? You don't really need to do credit repair right now. You're right there. You're right on the cusp. Maybe you just need to pay down your credit cards, you know, this amount so that you can get the mortgage right now, especially if they're in a hurry. It just builds goodwill. Okay. If they have a really drastically low score and it's paired with really high debt, they may very well need a debt settlement or bankruptcy instead. So you're going to be asking different questions. And you know, if there's another, if they have huge discrepancies between scores, you know, maybe they have reporting errors, maybe they have fraud. That's obviously a great case for credit repair. So one of the things, it's best to wait if you can to see their FICO score or know what it is. Obviously, you've learned through my other classes how to optimize for FICO 2, 4, and 5, but it's always helpful to be able to see an actual mortgage score. And you can, if you work with lenders, another way to see those mortgage scores is to ask them if they've already pulled a credit report on your clients. And I do this all the time. I just have them send me the lender report if they can. Some will, some won't. But if they won't, just ask them what the scores are. And then I always note those in my customer's file. So even if I'm using a Vantage score for my monitoring product, it's not a big problem because I know what the FICO scores were to start and I know that I'm optimizing for them. Okay, so the credit repair reality check. Credit repair is definitely a powerful solution. We all know this. We've been doing credit repair for a while, but it's not a fix-all solution for every single client. Some clients just have too much debt, or they have legal issues, or they have a lot of other problems. Like, let's just think of somebody right now that has, say they have judgments. They got like $30,000 or $40,000 in judgments or 50,000 in judgments, and they really can't pay that. You know, they're really going to be better off probably going into like a BK type of solution. Okay. So it's important as a credit provider, we call ourselves credit advocates, that you act as an ethical guide, not just a service provider. Don't take a credit repair client just because they think they need credit repair. Take a credit repair client because they actually need credit repair. And if they don't, refer them over to the appropriate person. Like common thoughts in the business are like, yeah, credit repair can fix anything. If I dispute it enough, we can get it all to go away. You know, they just need deletions to get a mortgage. There's so many other things that come into play when they're trying to get a mortgage. So like if they have student loans, say they have defaulted student loans, if they're going to try to get a government mortgage through like maybe FHA or something like that, if they have a defaulted student loan, I don't care if you get all of the information removed and deleted off of the credit report, that's coming up in the CAVERS report. They're still not getting a mortgage. So it is important to understand that just because you get something deleted off a credit report doesn't mean it's not going to pop up somewhere else. Just like a bankruptcy, you can get a bankruptcy deleted off a credit report, but they still have to say they had a bankruptcy when they go to get a loan. They can't say they didn't have a bankruptcy. It's going to come up, and obviously that's fraud if they say they didn't have one in the 7 years if they're applying for a loan. So the credit repair is all about accuracy of the credit report, strategy, and long-term financial health, which is what I hope everybody is doing. We're giving them financial education. All right, so the rapid triage method. So we're going to go over a few of these things. These are some of the ways that you can identify where your client should actually go. So what triage is it's about identifying the best path forward for your client. Okay, so I have a very simple three-step process for that. Number one, let's look at their DTI. Okay, and if you ask your question, if you or really get into your clients, when you talk to them and do the evaluation and find out what they're trying to do, are they trying to get a mortgage? What's going on? If their DTI, which is a debt to income ratio, so that's basically how much debt do they have in relation to how much they make, okay? Their income. So if their debt to income is above 50%, they're not going to be able to get a mortgage, even if you do credit repair. Okay, so credit repair alone, they might still need credit repair, but it may not be enough. You may have to give them, like pay down plans and things like that. So like I said here, the exception would be if negative accounts are errors rather than unpaid debt. But you got to look at their debt and what they're going to still have on the credit report, not just negative things, but positive things too. So if they have a DTI above the 50%, they may actually be a better candidate for a bankruptcy or even debt settlement. Asking key financial stability questions is also important. Okay. Are they current on their bills now? That's like the number one thing, right? We're doing credit repair. So are they actually current right now on their bills? I can't tell you how many times I see people that take clients that are currently 30, 60, or 90 days late on something. You don't ever want to take clients that are currently late on their bills as a credit repair client. So you have to ask these kind of questions and just do the right thing. Can they afford to make all their payments if their accounts are restored? Like if you get rid of their negative debt, and they have open accounts, can they afford to actually make all of their payments? Are they going to just go back into the same situation? Do they have any major upcoming financial events? Do they want to buy a house? Things like that. Ask them what their goal is, because even with debt settlement or bankruptcy, there's waiting times, like maybe a debt settlement program, that can take years to finish. Maybe a bankruptcy is a better option because it's faster. So there's a lot of things you have to take into consideration. And identifying, credit red flags on the report. Excessive late payments across multiple accounts. Maybe they need more like a debt management program. The high credit utilization, multiple charge-offs and collections, judgments, liens, lawsuits. Look for those types of things. And if these are all really super recent, it's more of an indication that maybe bankruptcy would be a better solution for them. So just, ask all the key financial stability questions like we talked about, whether or not they're on time. I think that's probably one of the most important things, is knowing that they're on time on all their bills. And a lot of times I just tell people if they're behind and they actually have money and they're not, upside down as far as their finances go, I just tell them, look, bring it current and then call me in 60 days. Once you've stayed current for 60 to 90 days, call me back and then you can sign up for the credit repair program. And they do it all the time. They bring everything current and they do it. There's obviously always an exception to every single rule. So who really needs bankruptcy? Okay. Here's how one of the ways that you can tell that a client needs bankruptcy instead of credit repair. Their debt is well over 50% of their annual income. They can't afford their minimum payments. They have multiple charge-offs, repos, or judgments, and or if they're facing like wage garnishments or lawsuits. Chapter 7 is good for the people that don't own homes. So little income, little assets. Okay, Chapter 7 is probably the cleanest way to get better credit and do it fast if they have these issues. In a Chapter 7, they can discharge this. Typically, a simple bankruptcy could take about 90 days to discharge. You can immediately start the credit repair after the bankruptcy discharge. Clean up the accounts, make sure they're all reporting zero balance, all included in bankruptcy, get them a couple new, revolving credit accounts and an installment account, and they're good to go. They'll be back at a 700 credit score in 6 to 8 months if they do it that way. And within 2 years, they will also be able to buy a house. Okay. They can get an FHA loan after 2 years. A Chapter 13. Now, this is a little bit different. Chapter 13 is like a repayment plan. So that's more like debt settlement, but you can put everything into these. You can put like sometimes back tax stuff can go into a Chapter 13, all the judgments, all of those types of things. So this is good for people that, with assets, maybe they have a house, maybe they have a lot of equity. And so they would probably qualify more for like a Chapter 13, but they would have to go to a bankruptcy professional in order to find out. For a credit specialist, you do not give any legal advice. Connect them with a bankruptcy attorney. There's also another side to this. So anytime you connect them to a bankruptcy attorney, that's a great thing for you because you can go partner with that bankruptcy attorney. And I think if you've ever been to some of my other classes, you know that partnering with a bankruptcy attorney is great. Who needs debt settlement? So I'm going to talk a little bit about debt settlement here because I'm going to be honest. I am not a huge fan of debt settlement. Okay. I'm a fan of some types of debt settlement. And I'm going to talk about that because like the regular debt settlement that they take the, amount of enrolled debt, charge them 25% of the amount of enrolled debt and that kind of stuff with their fees and stuff. I don't love that version of debt settlement. Okay. But I am a fan of debt settlement where they charge a portion, like a percentage of what they saved them. That can be a great option. I'm a fan of that. And there are providers that do it that way. I'm also a fan of credit repair professionals getting their debt settlement license if you need it in your state and doing your own debt settlement. There are many, many providers. As I don't know if Edgar Cruz is on this call, but he does a lot of debt settlement for his clients. I love that too because this is very good money for you guys to do debt settlement, and you're going to save the client so much more money by doing it with you or a provider that charges a percentage of what you save than a typical debt settlement provider. So when is debt settlement a better fit? When they have total debt usually between 10,000 to 50K. Now, again, there's exceptions to every single rule. I have credit repair clients all the time that I take that even have 20,000 in debt or 30,000, but they just have the money to pay it off and they do it themselves. So for me, I can coach them on how to do their own settlements, or you can do the settlement, charge them a percentage of what you save them, good money for that. Or you can send them to a debt settlement company that does that as well. And you can also get, typically they have affiliate programs for those to refer, but there's many different ways to do it. So anybody for a debt settlement program, it's unsecured debt like credit cards. We're not putting auto loans and things like that into a debt settlement plan. They need to have stable income, but they cannot any longer afford their minimum payments. So say they have a whole bunch of credit cards open and they can no longer afford the minimum payments. They're pretty much all late on everything. That would be a good candidate really for debt settlement. or even somebody that has recently charged off items is a good candidate for debt settlement. Or they're willing to negotiate settlements, but they don't really qualify for a bankruptcy. Some that happens where they just have to do it this way. So there's different scenarios, but again, everybody's different. You just have to talk to people. You have to find out if they have, money to do things. You have to find out, everything's kind of going on in the background in order to get the best result for them. Who should avoid debt settlement? Clients who can pay in full but just want a discount. We kind of talked about that. That's, we don't really want to do that. Those who need to keep a high credit score for upcoming purchases. Again, this just goes back to understanding what their goal is, what they're trying to do, so you give them the right solution. Or people with secured debts like auto loans, mortgages, they're not going to be able to put that into a debt settlement program. Okay, so good fits for credit repair. So best credit repair candidates, obviously, when you have errors on their credit report, so you can do the FCRA violations. We love that. They're denied credit due to outdated or incorrect information. Late payments, older late payments, collections, charge-offs, high utilization, but they're still making their payments and they have enough money to make their payments, things like that. Somebody that's in like a financial hardship moment, they might not be the best fit, for credit repair if they're having a tough time making their bills. But, a lot of times we have people that, especially right now, hey, you guys, it's tax time. So this is a great time to get credit repair clients. Every year, this is the booming time in credit repair because everybody gets their taxes back now. And a lot of times they want to clean things up so they can afford to pay you. They can afford to pay some of their old debts, and that's a good thing. So the power of referrals, when you refer over to bankruptcy or debt settlement, what it really does for you is it helps you build trust and credibility with your clients. Like I think I mentioned earlier with you guys and with my loan officers, that's one of the things they always say to their clients is Stephanie will send you where you need to go. If she can't help you, she will find somebody who can. So they know 100% of the time when they send me a client that I'm not going to just turn them away and say, oh, you're not a good candidate, or take them when they're not a good candidate and I can't really help them. They know I'm going to find the right solution at the right time and send them over to that or help them in any way that I can. It also positions you as an industry expert, especially with your loan officers and real estate agents, and doesn't just lump you in with the rest of the credit repair providers. It also helps you create partnerships with bankruptcy attorneys and debt settlement companies because I'll tell you what, they all have leads. Okay, they all have leads for you. So when you go and you make these relationships, you're going to get leads back. It's always coming back. If you start sending them leads, I promise you they're going to start sending you leads because they like that, right? Debt settlement companies, same thing. When people come out of debt settlement, what do you think they need? They need credit repair. And people coming out of debt settlement companies, they are one of the best credit repair candidates you can find because they settled everything. And half the time, they're still showing balances. So those are just FCRA violations in the making. And you can get those violations all day long and send those in over to your consumer law attorney, which you will be having a partnership with as well. And you're making money there too, but you're also helping the client in the best way possible. So your network should definitely include bankruptcy attorneys, debt settlement specialists, or become your own debt settlement specialist and learn to do it yourself. Financial coaches and advisors, mortgage brokers and lenders, for sure, those are huge. Real estate agents, consumer law attorneys, they have leads too. So everybody has leads, and you can be getting those leads if you build relationships with them. So case studies, these are just kind of, scenarios that we put together. So like an example, just the overwhelmed client, right? 80K in credit card debt, multiple charge-offs. Uh, we're going to refer them to the bankruptcy attorney, right? I mean, we're not going to sit there and dispute 80K in credit card debt for the next 12 months and then basically get no results. And then they have to go to bankruptcy anyways. Just do it right off. They're going to come back to you as a client anyways. So you're still going to get them. Um, Another one, no errors on report, just high utilization. This is the good faith thing. You know what? Just give them a little coaching on the phone. Let them know that they need to pay their utilization down and it'll bump their score up, really high if they just do this. And that builds goodwill with the person you're talking to. And here's what I do in that situation, because there's just a lot of times that they don't really have anything. They just need some advice. Maybe it's one tiny thing or one little collection, medical, and if they pay it for the $50 or $500 collection that's on their credit report, if they pay it off, it's going to get deleted and that's the only bad thing. Don't take them as a credit repair client. Just tell them for free. Then here, what I do in that situation is I tell them, hey, all you really have to do is go settle that medical debt. They'll remove it from your credit. It'll all be good and everything will be fine. And I said, and then they're like, oh, well, thank you for telling me that. And they always feel bad, like they should have paid you for that information. And so I always tell them, what you could do for me is I'm not going to charge you anything, but if you could just go on to my Google and leave me a review, that would be great. So they just leave me a review. They go give me a 5-star review saying how helpful I was and great. And then I get way more phone calls from my credit repair company. So it's just a win-win. Give it away. If it's easy and they really don't need credit repair, don't do it. The perfect credit repair client, identity theft victim, definitely. Errors across all 3 bureaus. We love that. We want to clean that up. We're going to send the letters into the bureaus. We're going to send that over to the FCRA attorneys when they don't remove it, because they're not going to remove it, because we all know that the credit repair or the credit bureaus are just throwing away our disputes half the time. So that's just an FCRA violation, and you're going to get your client some money and you're going to get yourself some money.